Hi guys, I'm here at the Roxburgh Golf Club. November, cold, very cold. Winter golf, that's what we're here to talk about today. We're going to try and get a little bit more out of your driver from winter golf. I know nowadays the ground's very, very wet, so when you hit driver, the ball comes to rest very, very quickly. So if you've got a low ball flight and you only carry it 160 yards or so, your ball's only going to get that 160 yards, you'll get nothing more out of that. So there's two ways we can do this. We can get more distance in the winter, we can get the ball to carry further, and what we need to do is we need to get the trajectory of the ball or the launch angle of the ball to be higher. So we need to get the ball up quicker for it to carry further. And as I said, there's two ways to do that. First way, buy new technology. In the shop at People's Golf Club I have the TaylorMade M1, which has adjustability for the centre of gravity. So you can move the weight back into the back of the golf club, which gives it a higher launch angle, increases more spin and gets the ball up higher. Okay, it's got a lot of spin on it, so it won't go too far, but at least you'll get the launch angle up higher. The other way is to work on your swing. So we need to try and find a way to get the ball up into the air quicker so it carries further. Now, it gets quite complex, but I'll keep it as simple as possible. There's such a thing called spin loft. And spin loft is the discrepancy or the angle between your angle of attack, so the angle the club's coming down on, and the loft on the club, dynamic loft on the club at impact. So the angle of the club coming down and the loft on the club at impact creates this angle, which is called spin loft. So if I'm hitting a wedge, I want to increase this angle to get as much spin as possible. So I want to hit my wedge coming down steeply, yet I want to keep as much loft on the club as possible. So therefore this angle here is a spin loft angle, so I've got a lot of loft and a lot of spin. So the ball goes very, very high, stops very, very quickly. With the driver I want to reduce the spin, but I still want a higher launch angle. So if I'm hitting down the way, like so, with the driver, or with any club, and I reduce the loft on the club, like so, so these two lines come together, so this is the loft, the dynamic loft, this is angle of attack, they come closer together, I'm going to produce less spin, which is fine. If I did this with the driver, obviously I'm going to hit it straight into the ground. So I need to change the launch angle of my driver up the way and reduce the loft. So try and get these two lines to marry against each other. So I want to hit the driver. If this is my golf ball, I'll take my golf ball. I want to hit the golf ball on the way up. So my angle of attack is going up the way, but I want to keep the loft off the golf club. So I actually want to hit up with the loft off, to make these two lines up with the loft off, to make the two lines marry up together, and then I'll get a higher launch with lower spin. So the lower spin means less deviation in ball flight. If I'm slightly off centre and I've got a lot of spin, I'm going to get a lot of slice or a lot of hook. So less spin means more distance and less deviation of ball flight. And the higher launch, we're getting up in the air. So instead of carrying the ball, I normally carry the ball 140 yards, let's say with the driver, just for example, and it flies at this trajectory and stops there, and it's going to stop there because the ground is wet and it's not going to run. Now I've got a higher trajectory, so the ball's going to carry further and it'll land a little bit further, not a huge amount, but you'll get a little bit more out of it. But when it comes to the summer with this higher launch, you're going to get more bounce and therefore you're going to get more roll as well. So ideally we want to get a higher launch angle. So, as I said, two things. Just checking there's no one coming, there is, we'll have to hurry up. Two things. One thing, buy new equipment. The technology is there now to move the weight back. Or secondly, which is slightly harder, we need to try and hit the ball on the up but keep the loft off the golf club. So in order to do that, at address, I would try and get my hands a little bit further forward, so I'm kind of taking the loft off. I'm not closing the face though. And then ball teed up nice and high, ball position forward. I'll exaggerate this. Ball position forward, ball teed up nice and high. So I'm swinging up at it. And I want my hands to lead the shot, so my hands are almost ahead of the club head at impact, which keeps the loft off. I don't want to pop it up this way, because then the two lines aren't marrying up together, because I've created more loft than I have launch angle. So I want to keep them together. So if I was to hit one, I would put myself in this position, try and get square onto the camera. So my normal ball position is maybe here. I'm moving it forward, almost left toe. This is for winter golf and high launch. I get my hands a little bit further forward. As I come through, I continue in that position, so the club's coming back up the way. I'm hitting it with a squarer face, de-lofted face, and kind of hold that through impact for longer. Jordan Spieth, brilliant at this. He holds the face square to target for longer. That does not happen to get the ball up in the air. It's this way. So that, I hope that covers it. It was quite in depth. Spin loft, reducing the angle of attack, so we're hitting it up the way, sorry, increasing the angle of attack, so we're hitting the ball on the way up, and reducing the dynamic loft to marry up with that will get you a higher launch angle, therefore more carry. Great in the winter because the ball's not going to run, but in the summer it's going to give you a higher bounce, so therefore you're going to get more distance as well. Okay, subscribe to my channel, Steve Johnson PGA on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter at Mr. Steve Johnson, and you can comment on the caption below. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Brilliant, thanks.